My name is Ruben Birch. I'm an assistant professor in industrial and system engineering here at Mississippi State University.
Okay. Oh, now where did you go to school here?
I did. I got two of my three degrees from here. I got
Okay.
my undergraduate degree in 2002 in computer engineering,
Okay.
and then got my PhD in industrial engineering from here in 2014. Well, I originally went into computer
Right.
engineering, so I didn't even know much about industrial engineering until after I'd been in industry for a while.
Right.
So somewhere around 2010, I was had been doing a lot of software development,
Right.
and so did a lot of work with human-computer interface design.
Okay.
And one day I just realized that I was way more interested in how the human perceived the interface versus in actually writing the code for it.
Right.
So sometime around then is when I made the shift over to industrial.
Industrial.
Well, the main thing is to get to know a professor in that major pretty well, or if there's somebody out in industry that they can know or
Mentor.
talk to, mentor.
Mm.
Because what you want to do is first you want to know what is it you really enjoy doing, like what do you enjoy doing with your pastime, what type of problems do you like to solve, like what we talked about in the intro.
Right.
You know, what do you like to spend your time doing?
Exactly.
You know, and some people may say, I'm only interested in sports, but I want to be an engineer. Well,
Right.
in that case, an industrial engineer is perfect because you do big data analytics.
Right.
You know, so you understand what you enjoy the most, and then have somebody you can talk to and tell them the things that you enjoy, and get that mentorship advice to match up the jobs available versus your interest.
What was your toughest challenge to overcome?
Well, the biggest thing for me is I got both my master's and PhD while I was working full time.
Oh wow.
And so I worked for companies and in areas that didn't necessarily value higher education.
Okay.
So there's a lot of people out in the world that's like, well, you've already got your engineering degree. Why do you want another?
Like it's
or why
kind
do
of
you
like
need another?
unnecessary.
Kinda.
Yeah.
If there are people in management that don't have higher level degrees or don't have engineering degrees, a lot of times because they didn't live through it, they don't understand the difficulty
Right.
of the degree itself. Any engineering degree, as you know, is difficult. There's
Yeah,
a lot
of
challenges,
course.
You know, so they don't, having never lived through that, they don't necessarily appreciate the time commitment. You know, so there were weeks where I was probably having to work 80 to 100 hours on a project.
Oh wow. I think we talked about that in class.
We did a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
But I still had to get my school stuff done.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times the professors would work with me, but they're only going to be so forgiving because they have to make it fair for everybody else in the class. I don't get to blow off assignments till I'm not busy at work,
Right.
and then do them, whereas everybody else had to go ahead and do them at the regular pace, you know.
Right.
So that was probably the biggest challenge, was finding time.
Like your everyday life, what do you do on a day-to-day basis?
Okay. Well, it's definitely different in academia than it was in industry. So
Right.
I can give you a little perspective from the industry side.
Okay.
So in industry, typically when you're an engineer working for a medium to large company, you have certain projects that you're either managing the project or you're the primary engineer on that project. So your days are generally consumed with solving problems associated with that project. Maybe you're going out to the field, meetings and email. That's going to be pretty consistent whether you're in
Right.
industry or academia. There's
Right.
a lot of meetings and email. But there was a little bit more focus and direction on what you're supposed to be working on because they brought you in to work on this certain set of tasks.
Right.
Whereas in academia, you only work on the things that interest you. You're kind of like your own boss.
Right.
So if you're not enjoying the stuff you're working on and researching, then you didn't do a very good job in figuring out what to work on. So my specialty is human technology interaction. So all the research that I do is somewhat associated with when humans meet technology and have to use it. So every day can be completely different except for the days that I have to teach class. Okay, the thing that surprises me the most, and I'm working on it, but we have a lot of distance students, and a lot of these distance students are like me, where they have a full-time job and they're having to work in addition to go to school. But kind of the attitude of the distance students.
Oh, really?
It was surprising. Having been one myself, I would have expected that distance students, because they have much more time limitations and much less time to work on it, that they would be more prompt and on time, and they wouldn't wait to the last minute
To do so.
and they wouldn't ask questions that had they just watched the class would answer it. So there are some distance students who are great, and they're some of the best students I've worked with. But then there's also the polar opposite,
Really?
where it makes you wonder how they have made it to this point.
Right.
You know, and kind of the expectations of their company pays, or we will reimburse payment for class if they make an A or a B. So that those students, a lot of times as a group, are solely motivated by making the bare minimum grade,
Like
so
the
that
bare
they can
B?
get
Yeah.
so that they can get reimbursed by the company, so they don't have to pay, because distance classes could be $2,000.
Right, they
per
are
class,
pretty
right?
expensive.
They're pretty expensive.
Yeah.
So I would say, and I'm still new and learning it, but that was the biggest surprise, having been a distance student, that a good majority of the distance students are not willing to put forth more than bare minimum to try to get
Reimbursed. Oh, okay.
So
Well,
I never would have thought.
never thought that.
Mm-mm.
That's actually kind of crazy. You would think that if you're pursuing that, you would be all in for it, but
Right.
like
And a
you
lot
said,
of these are really smart students that have complex jobs, and they clearly have to know what they're doing. And I understand that life gets busy, but if you're so busy you can't do your classwork, why are you in school?
right,
And also, why you're expecting your professor to,
just give you a
bend
grade.
over backwards and give you a good grade, right?
Do you think it would be do you think it's more of like them being arrogant since they know?
I would say it's probably a combination of things, and
Mhm.
everybody's probably a little bit different. I mean, there are some people that life gets in the way.
Yeah,
You didn't know you were going to get promoted or have to move, or family things happen.
Right.
You have an emergency in the family, or maybe you have a baby.
yeah, of
You
course.
So there are some things that happen that obviously should take priority over class
Yeah,
that you didn't know at the start of the semester. But then there's also some people that, because they've been in industry for a long time, they've got this expectation that they already know
everything.
everything about the topic. And a lot of them do know a lot.
Right.
But if you kind of have the attitude where you know a lot, but you don't tell me what it is you know, and you give me a weak answer
Right.
on a test, then it doesn't
Then-
matter that you have 30 years of experience or whatever.
Okay.
So,
Oh, wow, that's interesting. Well, I think that's gonna be it. Thank you for taking the time out of your day, Dr. Birch.
you're welcome. Happy to do it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.